President Vladimir Putin has said that almost 5,000 people have died in more than 3 weeks of fighting between Armenia and Azerbaijan over the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region. Putin shared the information in a televised appearance. As the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan rages on, Putin has said that Moscow will fulfill all its obligations within the framework of the Collective Security Treaty Organization. French President Emmanuel Macron on Thursday met his Armenian counterpart to discuss the ongoing conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh region. Prior to arriving in Paris, Sarkisian visited Brussels on Wednesday, where he accused Turkey of deploying militants to the disputed area. Meanwhile, Armenian Prime Minister Nikol ruled out a diplomatic solution to the raging conflict with Azerbaijan over Nagorno-Karabakh.
President Trump has announced a US-brokered deal between Sudan and Israel. It's the third such accord involving an Arab nation, and Trump called it a great revolution.
For decades, Sudan has been at a state of war with Israel. They have been in a state of war and boycotted Israeli goods. There was no relationship whatsoever. Today's peace agreement will enhance Israel's security and end Sudan's long isolation from the world because of what was taking place. It will unlock new opportunities for trade and commerce, education and research and cooperation and friendship for both peoples.
Under the deal, Sudan has agreed to pay compensation to American victims of terrorist attacks, engage more with the West and open its skies to Israeli flights. Today we declare another dramatic breakthrough for peace. Another Arab country joins the circle of peace, this time normalization between Israel and Sudan. What a great change. This is a new era, an era of true peace, peace that's proceeding and widening with additional Arab countries, 3 in the last few weeks.
Wasting no time, Joe Biden made a stop in his home city of Wilmington, Delaware, where he continued his attacks on President Trump's handling of the pandemic.
The president still doesn't have a plan. He's given up. He's quit on you. He's quit on your family. He's quit on America.
With over 8.5 million coronavirus cases in the US, Biden promised to make any future vaccine free of charge and laid out his strategy for the country.
Once we have a safe and effective vaccine, it has to be free to everyone. First, I'll go to every governor and urge them to mandate mask wearing in their states. As president, I'll mandate mask wearing in all federal buildings and all interstate transportation.
Russia has granted American whistleblower Edward Snowden permanent residency. His lawyer said on Thursday that Snowden's residency permit was expiring, so they asked for an extension. The 37-year-old fled the United States after leaking confidential files from the National Security Agency, where he was a contractor. U.S. authorities for years wanted Snowden's return so that he could face a criminal trial on spying charges. In August, President Trump said he was considering a pardon for Snowden.
Tam 6 saat boyunca sanki burada cinayet işlenmiş gibi, hatta terörizmin yuvasıymış gibi yapılan muameleyi biz asla ve kata hak etmiyoruz. Diğer derneklerin de yapmış olduğu gibi koronadan mütevellit ilgili mercilerin yapması gereken yardımlar hususunda legal yollardan müracaatımızı yaptık ve çok az miktarda söyleyebilirim 14.000 euro civarında yardım geldi. Biz yanlışlıkla ödemişiz, geri iadenizi talep ediyoruz demiş olsalardı biz seve seve geri...
France is under pressure. The country passed the grim milestone of 1 million coronavirus cases and hit a new record in daily infections, 42,032. In response, the French government has extended a nighttime curfew to 38 more departments, including French Polynesia. Following in the footsteps of the capital and other major cities, rural areas will now experience life under curfew. During a visit to a hospital in the Paris region, President Emmanuel Macron refused to rule out tightening restrictions. The government will give its first assessment of the curfew's effectiveness next week. France is the 7th country in the world to surpass 1 million coronavirus cases, after the United States, India, Brazil, Russia, Argentina and Spain.
The United States government is suing search engine Google. It's said to be the largest antitrust case against the tech company in more than 2 decades. In its complaint, the country's Justice Department alleges Google has stifled competition to maintain its powerful position in the marketplace for online search and advertising.
I think it's finally become just too much in terms of Google's dominance of the world of search and advertising. There actually have been noises over the years, in fact since 2015, about antitrust action against Google. And in 2018, the European Union, in fact, took action and ordered Google to allow alternative search engines to appear on its Android operating system, which dominates the world of smartphones.
North Korea has sent out a bizarre warning over yellow dust clouds from China that may be carrying the coronavirus. The secretive state, which claims it has not a single coronavirus case since the outbreak, has asked people to stay indoors, and the streets of Pyongyang were reportedly virtually empty on Thursday. North Koreans have been facing strict restrictions on movement, and the state has imposed border movement curbs since earlier this year, even though it claims that COVID-19 has not reached there. Scientifically, there is no link between seasonal dust clouds and COVID-19. However, North Korea is not the only country that suggests this supposed connection. BBC's disinformation team has reported that Turkmenistan also alleged virus-laden dust was the reason citizens were being told to wear masks. Turkmenistan, located in Central Asia, has also denied having a single coronavirus case.
The death toll from a 6.1 magnitude earthquake that struck China's southwestern Yunnan province on Wednesday has risen to 589, with 9 people still missing, China's state-run media said on Friday. Among the reported deaths, 504 were in the worst-hit Ludian County and 72 in Chaozhou County. In addition to the deaths, 2,401 people were reported injured. The epicenter of the quake was recorded in Longtoshan Township, 23 kilometers southwest of Chaotong, and tremors were felt almost 200 miles away. Hundreds of aftershocks were recorded following the initial tremor. Poor weather conditions and the aftershocks hampered rescue efforts. One of the rescued victims, 88-year-old Song Chengfen, was found on Friday after being buried for 50 hours under rubble in Babawakun village, near the quake's epicenter.
Police near Charlotte, North Carolina say when they checked out an abandoned van in this bank parking lot, they found guns and cash inside and discovered that the owner, 19-year-old Alexander Treisman, downloaded thousands of images of child pornography. But they say searches of his devices showed he bought a rifle last spring, got within 4 miles of Joe Biden's home in Delaware, and posted a meme online with this caption, "Should I kill Joe Biden?" Court documents say Treisman was obsessed with mass shootings, including the 2019 attack on mosques in New Zealand, that he wrote about shooting up a food court and had a video about hijacking a plane and flying it into a building, and drove to the site of the 2017 mass shooting in Las Vegas and recorded himself saying, "That's where they did it. Nice."
Families of Nicaraguan political prisoners are calling for the release of their loved ones. many of whom have been participating in a hunger strike from behind bars for more than 3 weeks. They're trying to call attention to alleged human rights abuses by Nicaraguan security forces and paramilitary groups. Scarlett Narvaez says her husband Ernesto is among the prisoners participating in the hunger strike. She says her husband and several others have sewn their lips shut as part of their protest.
They made the decision to do a hunger strike, partly as a way to demand their freedom, because they suffer from constant physical and psychological mistreatment.
Nicaragua's President Daniel Ortega has denied allegations of torture, adding that human rights observers are welcome to visit the prisons. In response, a team of human rights observers traveled to El Chipote prison in Managua, but were intercepted by security forces who denied them access.